Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel Daysi DIY. Today I'm sharing with you guys an easy home decor. I hope you enjoy. If you do, please don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. Thank you so much. For the first project, I'm going to be using this base that I had on hand, and I had it for a really long time, so I decided to do something different with this base because I really love it how it looks and all the texture that they have this base. So the first thing, I'm going to be using the Rustic chalkboard paint on color white that I got from Amazon. So you guys can see I'm not painting it all the way because I want the color that has on the bottom to show a little bit through. First, I did one coat, and once it was completely dry, I did a second coat. And the brush that I'm using to paint it, it's from Dollar Tree.
It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free.
And this is how it looks once it's completely dry, the first coat, and it's when I decide to do the second coat. And once it was completely dry, I decided to use this sandpaper that I got from Dollar Tree to distress it a little bit, especially the edges of the base.
Sometimes you need to go and take a step back to see the truth around you. From a distance you can tell.
I'm going to use a few pieces of this greenery to put it inside. You guys can put anything and it will look really beautiful. And this is how it looks at project once we're done. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you guys think about this project?
You and me were meant to be in the great outdoors.
Today, I'm taking part on the Craft Your Stash DIY Summer Indoor and Outdoor Collaboration that is being hosted by the amazing Antoinette from Simple Yet Chic. I will leave the link of her channel below. I hope you enjoy and stay tuned to watch on the playlist. Thank you so much. For the next project, I'm going to be using this picture frame that I had on hand. So I'm going to be using the Rustic chalkboard paint on color white to paint it. I'm going to be creating this technique. I'm using a little bit of baking soda with a little bit of paint, and I just mix everything very well. I decided to cover the picture frame with a little bit of painter's tape on the glass because I didn't want to paint the glass. So you guys can remove the glass, but I didn't remove it. So once I was done with the first coat, I just start tapping it with the brush so we can have a little bit of more texture on the picture frame, and it works really amazing. So once it was completely dry, I decided to remove the painter's tape.
Forever free, you and me, meant to be in the great.
The next thing, I'm going to be using this Sharpie pen that I had on hand. I'm going to be distressing the frame a little bit with this Sharpie, and I'm just going to start creating lines anywhere of the picture frame so we can give this distressed look that we're looking for. So once I was done, I decided to use this sandpaper, and I just want to remove a little bit of the paint so we can blend it together. Also, I decided to distress it a little bit, and for that I'm using that Waverly chalk paint on color anti-wax to distress it a little bit more because with the Sharpie it was okay for me, but I think it was needing something else, so I decided to use this. So once it was completely dry, I decided to distress it a little bit more with the sandpaper, and especially just the edges of the frame. So the next thing, I'm going to be using this small bow that I create. I just use some lace ribbon and I just put it all together. And to distress it from the top, I just use a little bit of the same paint, the Waverly chalk paint on color anti-wax. And I'm just going to be using a little bit of hot glue to glue it. And also I decided to put a few pieces of the greenery on the side so we can add a little bit more of touch to the frame. So the next thing, I decided to create another small bow to put it right here in the middle, but in the end I removed this bow and I just put another type of bow. It was made of jute twine.
Sometimes you need to go and take a step back.
And this is how it looks our project once we're done. I think this picture frame, it turned out really beautiful, but please let me know what do you guys think about this project.
You and me were meant to be.
For the next project, I'm going to be using another base that I had on hand, and to paint it, I'm using again a little bit of baking soda with a little bit of Rustic chalkboard paint on color white. I just mix everything very well, and I'm just going to be using this brush to put it. So first I did one coat and I just let it dry, and once it was completely dry, I just start using again the same brush, but this time I decided to start tapping it so we can have more texture in the base. Also, I decided to remove the jute twine that they have all around of the base. The first thing I was going to do, like, okay, we can put the paint on top of the jute twine, but no, it didn't look very well, so I decided to remove it.
To see the truth around you. From a distance you can tell.
The next thing, I'm going to be using this Waverly chalk paint on colored cashew that I got from Walmart. And to paint it, I'm using a small piece of bed sponge that I got from Dollar Tree. And I just did one coat and I just let it dry.
Forever free. You and me meant to be in the great outdoors. Forever free.
Also, I decided to use this Waverly chalk paint on color anti-wax to distress it a little bit more the base, and I'm just using this brush to distress it, and I'm just going to do it at the way that I want it. So you guys can see I'm just using first a little bit of paint to distress it.
Forever free. You and me meant to be in the great outdoors.
And to put inside of the base, I'm going to be using this greenery, and I'm just going to put a few pieces inside. You guys can put anything and it will look really beautiful. And this is how it looks our project once we're done. This base, it turned out really beautiful. I love it. But please let me know in the comments down below, what do you guys think about this project?
Take a step back to see the truth around you. From a distance you can tell.
For the next project, I have this picture frame for a really long time and I decided to paint it. For that, I'm using the Rustic chalkboard paint on color white. I'm just going to be using a small piece of painter's tape to put it on the top so we don't paint the front part of the picture frame, because I think it's really beautiful, this basket and everything. So I'm just using this brush that I got from Dollar Tree to paint it, just the edges of the frame. So once it was completely dry, I decided to use a small piece of this sandpaper to distress a little bit the edges. And now we're just going to remove the painter's tape from the top of the sign. also, I decided to use the Waverly chalk paint on color anti-wax to distress it a little bit more the edges so it can blend together the picture with the edges.
Meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free.
And this is how it looks our project once we're done. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you guys think about this project? For the next project, I'm going to be using this small picture frame that I had. So the first thing, I decided to use a small piece of painter's tape to cover the glass. You guys can remove it. So to paint it, I'm using the Rust-Oleum chalkboard paint with a little bit of baking soda. And I just mix everything very well. And I'm just going to be using this brush that I got from Dollar Tree to paint it. So first, I did one coat, and once it was a little bit dry, I decided to start tapping it so we can give a little bit of texture to the picture frame. For this type of picture, it's like plastic. It was not wood as the other one. It's just completely plastic. It gives them a lot of texture to the picture frame. I just love it how it turns out.
Meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. You and me.
I don't know if you guys can see it here in the video, but it has a lot of texture in the frame and it looks really beautiful. And once it was completely dry, I removed the painter's tape from the top. And also, I'm going to be using this Sharpie that I had on hand, and I'm just going to start distressing the edges of the picture frame a little bit. The next thing, I decided to remove a little bit of the paint, and for that I'm just using a wet paper towel that I had, and I just remove it a little bit, and I just trying to blend all together. So I decided to remove the flowers inside of the small vase, and I just remove everything, the glass also. And the next thing I decided to do, I just placed the flowers with a piece of greenery that I had on hand, and also I create this small bow to put it, and I just used a little bit of hot glue to glue it. So here I decided to put everything back together, but I decided not to put the glass because it didn't look well with the greenery inside. So once I was done, I just put the screw backs together.
Meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free.
And this is how it looks our project once we're done. Let me know in the comments down below, from all the projects, which one it was your favorite. Please let me know in the comments down below. So that was it for today's video. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified every time that I upload a new video. And please don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you so much and have an amazing day.